Okay, hi everyone. My name's Paige Sherwood, and for my project, I chose anxiety and depression as my topic. And my goal here was to research more about what it is and also to explain how it feels for someone that doesn't experience those mental illnesses themselves. So that was my goal. I had kind of two parts of my project. So one was to create art to show the emotion behind mental illness. I am someone that personally struggles with anxiety and depression, so I wanted to use my art skills and also my experience with mental illness to kind of bridge that gap and to be able to show people what that emotion feels like because it's something that's very hard to explain. And secondly, I created a website that had some more resources, and I also uploaded my art there as well. But I thought I would just start by showing my artwork. So the first one I made was this like infographic kind of, and it says, I think it's gonna be backwards for you guys, but it says it's okay if yours are the arms that hang down. And you guys have all probably heard of the DMC scripture that says like, we're commanded to lift the arms that or lift the hands that hang down. And I just kind of wanted to make this as a PSA, kind of a reminder, and something that could normalize, mental illness in our culture at church. And then this one I actually won't fully be able to show except for on my website, but this is a little guy walking to campus. That's supposed to be the LSB. But like it's a super sunny day. Everything seemingly is normal, perfect, happy in his life. But I actually put this in a Ziploc bag and colored gray acrylic paint over it, so it had this very hazy effect, which I'll show you guys later. But that is to demonstrate how depression feels, because a lot of times it feels like this cloud over everything. Like you can kind of clearly see, if you pick apart your thoughts, that everything is okay, everything is fine, but there's this haze because of your depression. It makes you feel like something's wrong, even though seemingly everything is not wrong. And then my last one is, to be honest, this was actually based off of me, but so this is kind of just like the face of depression, for me at least, kind of in that phase where it's very numbing almost, and you feel just so defeated, so frustrated, so exhausted from just trying to use your mental stores, and not being able to achieve everything you wanted to, the things that your anxiety is driving you to do, but then your depression doesn't let you, and you've just put too much upon yourself, and you're just so done at that point. And as you can see, there's color on her face, and that is just to represent like clothes. For example, like in a messy room or something that were left out, and it's this kind of hard physical state as well. Like you feel like you're living in just, your clothes are all over the floor, and it's like, was that because of my mental health? But that also doesn't help my mental health. So the two just kind of contribute to each other and cause this vicious cycle, so to speak. So yeah, those are my art pieces. Now I'm going to show you guys my website. So bear with me seconds. Okay, so here he is. So I just called it Help with Mental Health. So first I have this blog section. So we have anxiety and depression in the overlap. I made this little picture here, but just how they relate. And then also how people describe their experience with anxiety. And this is something that I really learned from this project, because it was so validating for me to read other people's experiences and to hear or to read what somebody else was experiencing and think, wow, they are describing that perfectly better than I could. And this is a real thing that's happening to me. I'm not making this up in my head. And millions of people struggle with this. So just a couple are, it almost feels like your mind is stuck on vibrate and you can't calm it down. Anxiety makes you want to do everything right and you care so much, maybe too much. Yet on the other hand, depression tells you that nothing matters at all. And this is kind of that the numbness I was talking about in that last picture. It says, my anxiety is so bad. At times, all I can do is just sit and let it happen. I get so tired, I have to fight. And those were my sources for that. The next one was this piece I wrote on giving your brain a break. And I use this analogy of, website browsers have to be refreshed before they start lagging. Your muscles need to rest between sets in the gym. Your dog starts panting after one lap around the block on your walk. Why don't we treat mental health the same way with this refresh button? We just keep pushing past our limits, and it's only making things worse. And yeah, I kind of just cited some more sources there and talked about the benefit of taking breaks, especially with work and school, etc. And then this post was actually inspired by the book I read for my book report 2, which was it was called 10 Days to Self-Esteem, but it kind of just gives different ways you can challenge your thoughts because a lot of your thoughts lead to how you feel. So if you can break down your thought processes, then you can ultimately change how you feel, is what the premise of this book was. So I talked about thought distortions. A lot of you guys probably have heard of these in your other psych classes, but I just listed them here and just did some examples and also how you can reframe those thoughts. I thought would be helpful for other people. So one of them is overgeneralization. So for example, this morning was so stressful. I was late to work, like my whole day is going to be ruined. But instead you can reframe that and say, hey, a bad morning does not guarantee a bad rest of the day. I'm not going to let this event change the course of how my day would run or whatever. And that's overgeneralizing. And then I also had a little piece on meditation, some of the benefits, and also some resources. Another one I really liked that I did was how to help if you have a loved one with mental health, especially if you yourself don't struggle with it. It's really hard to understand. And this little graphic, and then we have, just a few things like educate, like if you know the symptoms, and it's here's you what to look for in your loved one. Celebrating the small things, I think that one's really important. And then I also had a resource of like how to find a good therapist. So yeah, and then here's the artwork. So yeah, here's that second one. We have the reality versus the perceived reality. And like I was saying, how those thoughts determine feelings, it's so hard to separate. And I really liked being able to do this piece. And I showed some of my friends and they were very impressed by this. And I mean, that's up to you whether or not, however you want to think about this. But I think this just kind of helped me shed some light on like, this is how it feels. And it's one of the best visuals I thought I could do. And then there are these two as well. So yeah, that's what I did for my project. And yeah, I just learned a little bit more about how tied together anxiety and depression are, and just went deeper into how it feels. And I think, like I said, the biggest thing I learned was how validating that was as someone that struggles with mental health. And also yeah, I learned how I could better communicate to someone else how it feels, as well as just finding some more resources for myself as well. So yeah, thank you.